much thriving do you have in your small business? Hey, it's Melanie Benson Strick here, America's leading small business authority, and we have a very special edition of the Small Business Optimizer podcast. And it's Thanksgiving week here in the United States, and it's a week where we give thanks, where we have gratitude. And I wanted to share something that I actually had a lot of gratitude for, and that was how I learned to be at peace with all the crap, all the craziness, all the ups and downs that happen, not just in our business, but in life. And as somebody who is really pushing the envelope all the time and evolving constantly, and, we have all kinds of relationships as human beings. Trust me, there's a lot of stuff that can get us in our crap. And one of the things that I know is, as an entrepreneur, when we learned to get ourselves centered and we learn to really ground ourselves, there's so much power and there's so much more confidence there. So this week, instead of interviewing somebody, I wanted to share a really beautiful list that was given to me by a woman named Saskia Davis, and it's called The Symptoms of Inner Peace. And so I want to share this with you, and I'm going to actually give you a downloadable handout that gives you all of these symptoms along with it as my gift, because I am so grateful. I have so much gratitude for you. And if you're watching this on iTunes or somewhere that this handout's not available, you can go to melaniebensonstrick.com/podcast, and you can get access to the handout. So these symptoms are really a funny way of saying, what do you have to be willing to do to create so much peace, so much harmony, so much ease, so much grace in your life, that the things that happen to you in your business, instead of them triggering you and causing you to go sideways, you will actually learn a new way to be with them. And so instead of going into that dark hole or feeling like you get pulled out of your game, you learn to just ride the wave and just kind of float on by and not get taken out of the game. And as somebody who's had some pretty significant challenges, I've had to face a bankruptcy. I've had to, I've lost entire teams. I've, had, relationships crumble. I've had friendships that were meaningful and valuable go away. I've lost clients. Everything's happened. There's always stuff that's going to happen. Are you going to let it derail you? Or are you going to have a way of being in the world that allows you to quickly respond in a way that's powerful and to keep you in the game and not let you get derailed? So here's the first one, and I love this one: a tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than on the fears from your past experiences. So when you're able to get to the place where in the moment you react, or you respond is a better way, from a place of power, instead of all the fears that junk up your way of being, you have more peace. Because you're not layering all this junk from the past on you. You're just simply taking each situation at face value. It doesn't have all the junk attached to it. I found that really, really significant. Number 2, an unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. Think about it in business. We're entrepreneurs. How often do we just take in the moment and have gratitude for this very moment? Or are we constantly, I need to get ahead, I need to get ahead, I need to get the next thing done? One of my clients mentioned he saw an interview not too long ago, and I don't remember who the person was, but he was saying that, as entrepreneurs, we're always restless. We're always frustrated with where we are. We always want more. We want to get higher results, get there faster, and it creates such a level of discontent that it's hard to just find the joy and the fulfillment in a moment. And yet that is what brings us peace. So how can we find that balance of being peaceful with where we are and being happy and in gratitude for what we have, while continuing to challenge and strive for a next level? Here's the third one: a loss of interest in judging other people. Ooh, that's a big one, isn't it? It's so much easier to judge others. And it's so much easier to blame and to focus on what other people aren't doing right. We give our power away all the time. What if we didn't do that? What if people are just people and we don't make them wrong or bad, but it just is what it is? And instead, we look at who we're being and ask ourselves, what would have to be different in me to either not attract that person into my life or to simply just let it go and to not make it mean anything if their behavior isn't matching what we want in our life. That's where boundaries come in, and we get to let go of the people that can't step up and be the way we need people to be in order for us to continue to grow and evolve and serve at the level that we're meant to do. So again, it's not I'm better, they're not. It's simply an awareness of what is the right people for me to be around that will allow me to continue to be challenged to grow and evolve. The fourth one, a loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others. Okay, as a coach and a mentor, this one was significant for me when I first learned it. So, we are in the business of interpreting why we do things. People hire me to get more performance. People come to me to figure out why they do things. So I'm trained to really look at the way someone is behaving and their patterns and their behaviors and all the things going on in the tracking of their results and figure out what's wrong. So why this is really significant is that's great if that's what you get paid for. But on a personal level, when you stop trying to figure out why people do things and you just take at face value that this is what's going on, you don't have that constant chatter in your brain of why did they do this? Why did this happen? What do I have to do? And there's constant, for many of us, our brains never turn off. We're constantly processing, and especially if we feel like there's been something done to us or there's something that's confusing by other people's behaviors. Okay, come on, admit it. How many of us just cycle through that over and over and over again? I'm guilty. So recognizing that a symptom of inner peace is to let that go and to stop trying to figure out why anybody else does anything else and just be with it and just deal with the outcome of it. That just takes so much internal processing off the table, and now I have more energy for all the other things that are important. A loss of ability to worry. Wow. If we had permission to stop worrying, wouldn't that be really powerful? So the minute you caught yourself worrying and you realize, wow, that's not a symptom of being peaceful. That's not where my power is going to come from. And you just stopped worrying and you allowed yourself permission to just focus on the gratitude of what is and to create, flow in your life. Wouldn't that be more powerful? When I teach the Money DNA Mastery Program, that's one of the big things is to look at the places where we worry. Worry is the ability to make permanent the thing you don't want. Because worry is just repetitively repeating a belief, a story, or a situation in your mind, which basically makes it permanent. Because what you focus on expands. So I loved that when you lose that worriness, when you lose that part of you and you learn how to manage that and replace worry with something more constructive, that you have basically the fast pass to more peace and more harmony and more grace. And that's something that I have in the past really had to work on, and I still do, is to catch myself when I'm in worry and soothe that and just say, everything's fine. I just need a strategy. I just need a system to work through this. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. I love that. Again, it's another form of gratitude, but the other day I posted something on Facebook to some people in my life who I have an extraordinary amount of gratitude for. And I do really get that when you feel appreciated and when you are appreciating, it creates such a powerful emotional change in your body. So try this. Just try this. I want you to think of one thing, one person that you appreciate right now. It could be really simple. It could be you appreciate, a mentor or a friend or a family member. You could appreciate somebody that you read their material or a podcast like this. What is it that's something that you appreciate? And just focus on that. Don't you immediately begin to feel more peaceful and more joy? Contented feelings of connectedness with others and nature. So one of the things that many of us miss, especially if we're entrepreneurs and business owners, is we miss feeling connected. Do you work at home by yourself like I do? Well, I actually go out to lunch often so I can feel connected to other human beings. So how are you getting that connection met? For me, one of the ways I do feel at most peace is when I'm connected to others that really feed and nourish my soul, and I feel like I'm getting the needs met to interact with other human beings. And some people, it's not human beings, it's nature. So, do you live by the ocean? Do you live by a park? Do you have nature around you that you can go experience? And it's a fast way to really connect. And that connection to something bigger than you is what helps you feel more peaceful. Frequent attacks of smiling. How much do you smile throughout the day? Is it, do you catch yourself with a frown, or do you have a smile on your face? Back in the days when I worked for Motorola, there was a sweet Russian lady. She was about 62 years old. She was 5'2", and she was in customer service. And let me tell you, this was one of the sharpest, often ruthless ladies I had ever met. And she handled part of our accounting. And so she had a mirror up in her office. And I remember asking her one day, Ruth, why do you have this mirror up in your office? Like, what is this for? And she was on the other side of my cubicle at the time. So let me tell you, I heard her all day. And she was ruthless. But she said, I know that if I'm frowning when I'm talking to someone, they'll feel the frown. But if I watch myself and I make sure I'm smiling, they'll know that deep inside, I really do care about them, and I'm happy to help us find a solution. And I thought that's so powerful. So, ask yourself, how much are you smiling in your day? And do you find yourself just smiling for no good reason at all? An increasing tendency to let things happen. Now, I know that might really trigger you and think, how do I just let things happen? That's like being a victim, or that's not being proactive. Let me tell you what I think it means. And that is, instead of trying to control and manipulate and force and push through things that are not working in your life, that you pay attention and you allow things to unfold. And for some of us, that means we have to get a little bit more unattached to how we get to our results. Yet knowing that as we move through things, we are actually coming through with power and purpose. When you let things happen, you allow yourself to organically evolve instead of feeling like you're controlling and manipulating and challenging everything every step of the way. And the level of peace that comes when you are in the flow, I like to call it effortless flow, versus feeling like you are trying to control, manipulate, push, force. There's so much energy in that. There is so much stress in that. There is so much that is angst ridden in that. And it's something to pay attention to. If you're always in that space, that there is something going on that you need to take a look at. So give yourself permission to practice what it would be like to be in effortless flow and to let things unfold rather than constantly forcing and pushing your agendas either on yourself or on the people around you. And watch how many more things work out the way you want them to when you actually surrender to that which is already unfolding, but you're missing because you're so attached to your agenda. That can be a very provocative one. And the last one that I just love, I love the way this is said, an increased susceptibility to love extended by others, as well as the uncontrollable urge to extend it. Here in the U.S., during the week of Thanksgiving, many of us are brought back to a space of gratitude and really being in appreciation. But what we oftentimes miss in that space is what it's like to truly, truly love and to, be in a place where you're giving love unconditionally. You don't always have to like the way people are behaving. You don't always have to buy into the way they're doing things. And you don't always have to agree with people. And quite frankly, you don't always have to be around them to love them. But when we choose to do things from love, here's what I think happens. Our ego mind, that part of us that thinks that they know all and that part of us that gets us into trouble, is replaced with a softer, kinder, more compassionate, and a more empathetic way of being. And I truly believe that the connections and the way in which we as leaders and whether you're a thought leader, you're a transformational coach, you're a mentor, you're a guide, whatever you are, you can just be someone who is really passionate about entrepreneurship. But if you choose to show up on this planet with more love in your heart, and you choose to really let your ego mind take a back seat and just say, what would love do? How would I show love today? What would have to be true if I just let my heart lead this conversation? What would be different for you? To me, that is the essence of peace, is when we lead our lives from love. And I know this isn't a conversation that a lot of business owners are having. It's not always what you would put with the idea of optimum performance. But for me, because I am so committed to leaving a lasting impact, and I'm really about helping people create the legacy that they want to leave behind inside their business, I think if we do it with love and we do it with more passion and we bring more heart to it, how can we not be peaceful? There's just so much more power inside that way of doing things than it has been for me when I've been in those other paradigms of trying to control, force, push, manipulate, or, let my ego drive the bus. So I hope this has inspired you in some way. And what I really want is in this time of really reflecting on what I'm grateful for. I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful for my clients. I'm grateful for the extraordinary people in my life. And I'm glad you're one of them. And I hope that you'll share one thing that helps you have inner peace, or if there was one of the symptoms that you liked here, share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what was really moving for you. Because remember, what we focus on expands. So if you can find one of these places of inner peace to help you optimize your mindset, your personal activities, your business will thrive more effectively. All right, we'll see you next week with another interview. Happy Thanksgiving if you're here in the U.S., and happy Gratitude Week everywhere else. Bye-bye.